What's going on, guys? Today we're going to be talking about math and import statements. So without further ado, let's get started. Some of you might be wondering, what exactly are import statements? You can see I have one up here. This is the syntax for an import statement. We write the word import, and then we write whatever we are importing, some sort of package. And what exactly does an import statement do? Well, to explain it best, there's a lot of really great programmers out there, and they design a lot of great programs that we can include in our own code. So if you want to use someone else's work and in your own code, you can import that work into your program. So some very bright programmers, they created math. They created everything in math, and it allows you to use mathematical functions. And when we import it, we can use what they coded in our own program. So now that we know what an import statement is, and now that we have imported math, we can proceed to talk about math inside of Python. So how does one do math? I would like to start by introducing a new type of variable. So we didn't talk about this in our first variables tutorial, and I wanted to save it for the math tutorial. So there's another big type of variable called a float. And so a float is just like an integer, except it's a decimal value. So like, let's say I wrote my float, I'm assigning a name to a variable, and I gave it a value of 5.2. This would become, or type 2.1, either works. Any decimal value works, actually. Since I assigned it a decimal value, this is now a float. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. Now we know that there's this other type, and then let's create an integer for this tutorial. So my int, we'll abbreviate, and we'll set it to 5. Okay, so let's learn some simple operations. First, let's start with addition. So if we want to add 5 to 5, what we can do is we can write my int equals my int plus 5. Now remember, when we're programming, this equals, a single equal sign means a sign. Does not mean that both sides of the equation are equal. So if we were thinking of this in a math context, this would be impossible. My int does not equal my int plus 5. But if we're thinking of this in a programming sense, the computer is going to interpret this as we have a variable called my int, and we're assigning it a value of the previous value of my int plus an additional 5. So this is how we add 5 to my int. So after this, at this line right here, after our addition statement, the value of my int should be 10. Now let's see another way to do this. So we can also use this syntax: my int plus equals 5. It's just a shorter way to do it. Programmers prefer it. So now we have two lines which add 5. Now let's learn about subtraction. So we can do my int equals my int, and you guessed it, we use minus for subtraction, just like that. My int minus 5, and then we can do my int minus equals 5. And the same goes for division and for multiplication. So for multiplication, you're of course using star. For division, you're going to use this slash right here. But it's basically the same syntax. Just replace the minus or the plus with whatever you need to do. So in our case, we started with this variable here called my int. We assigned a value of 5. We added 5. We added 5 again, and we subtracted 5. We subtracted 5 again. So we should be back to 5. Just for the sake of what we're going to learn next, let's go ahead and multiply my int by 5. So my int equals my int times my int. This is one way to square things, but another way we can square things is by using math, which is why we imported it at the top of our program. So what we can say is instead of this, so let's comment this out so we don't want it to work. We can write my int, and then what we can do. Oh, looks like my recording chopped out there for a second. Sorry about that. So what we can do here is we have my int equals, and then we can use the following syntax. So since we imported math up here, what we can write is math dot, and in order to raise something to a power, we can just use pow. And then pow takes two parameters. So first, whatever the base is, and in this case, we want the base to be my int. and then we want to square it, so we're going to raise it to the power of 2. And that should do the trick. We can check by printing my int. Print my int. There we go. Let's give that a good old run. And we should see that we get 25 at that very bottom. There we go. We have successfully squared my int. And so some of you might be wondering, okay, so why do I need this my int equals right here? Why can't I just do my int or math.pow my int comma 2? And the reason for that is when you have this line of code by itself, the computer will run that operation. It will calculate what is my int to the power of 2, but it's not going to do anything with the value it calculates. The only way to access that value is to store it, and so we store that by assigning the value of my int to this mathematical operation. Now we can also do the reverse. We can also square root something. So we can say my int equals math dot sqrt. That's just how Python says square root. Then we can put in my int as the parameter, and then we can say print my int, just like that. We should get back to good old 5, which is what we started with, because we squared and then we have also square rooted. Should cancel out the initial operation. And those are the most important things that you'll need for now. So basically, when manipulating variables, keep in mind the syntax for adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. And then some of the most powerful things with math are, of course, square rooting and raising to the power. There is a ton of things you can do with math, and you can always look up that documentation on the internet. There's a lot of things that you'll find there. But basically, the gist is it's going to be the word math and then dot and then whatever function you're using here, and put the parameters in, and you should get a good output. And then keep in mind, whenever you want to use math, just don't forget to put in that import statement or the import statement of anything that you'd like to utilize within your program. So I think that pretty much sums up tutorial number 3 for us. Check in with tutorial number 4, where we will be learning about conditionals. Can't wait to see you there.